Owls are absolutely incredible birds. They're very mysterious seeming, they're hard to find, and I always think it's a good day if you're able to get a glimpse of one or to hear one. So here are 10 incredibly awesome facts about owls that you need to know. Number one, they're silent flyers. So they actually have soft feathers on their wings and a fringed leading edge that prevents a lot of noise from occurring when they take flight. So many birds, it's pretty loud when they take off. Thinking about ducks or something like that, you can really hear the wings. Even mourning doves have a noise when they fly. They call it the wing whir. But owls, this is a great adaptation for hunting because they can fly in silently, take whatever prey item it is without them even knowing that the owl's there. So if you see a bird, it's kind of starting to get dark, it's hunting, you see it take off and it's silent, it's likely an owl. Number two, owls have exceptional hearing. So their ears are actually asymmetrical. So one is actually in a slightly different spot on their head than the other. You know, humans, we have them in the same location, but they're asymmetrical. So they can hear sounds hitting one ear before the other, which really helps them pinpoint noises and their prey. Many owl species are nocturnal, so having great hearing is really important for them while they're hunting, and that asymmetrical placement of the ears really helps them to locate their prey. And their hearing is so sensitive that some species can actually hear rodents under leaves and snow. So specifically, I'm thinking about great gray owls. I've seen videos of them actually diving down into the snow because they're able to hear the rodents rustling underneath. So you'll see them just kind of plop down and then come out with their prey. They're not always successful, but it's pretty wild that they can even sense that going on. Number three, they can rotate their head 270 degrees. This is kind of the classic owl look. They'll be looking a different way and they'll turn their head way around to then look at you. And so their eyes are actually fixed in their socket. So they need to move their head to see. So this is kind of adapted from that. But they have extra neck vertebrae. So they have about 14, humans have about 7. And so this really helps them be able to move that head from side to side. It almost looks like it can go all the way around depending on what angle you're looking at. But this is kind of the classic owl look, looking a different way and then turning and then kind of staring daggers at you if you're the observer or whatever prey item they're trying to hunt. Number four, there's an incredible variety of species. There's about 250 different kinds of owls in the world, and they range from incredibly tiny to incredibly massive. So let's start with the smallest one, the elf owl. It only weighs about 1.5 ounces. They're native to the southwestern United States and Mexico. Compared to the great horned owl, which can be found throughout much of the Americas, that weighs about 5.5 pounds. So elf owl is an absolutely petite owl. A lot of the times they will nest in the cavities in saguaro cacti and stuff like that. So really tiny owl you can see. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have the Blakiston's fish owl, the largest owl in the world. They can weigh up to about 10 pounds and they have a wingspan of about 6.5 feet. So they are absolutely massive, majestic owls, often found in like Russia, Japan, China. So when you think about the elf owl, like the size of a small soda can versus the fish owl that's like the size of a fire hydrant, it's just a crazy how many different sizes of owls there are in the world. Number five, many have nocturnal vision. So we kind of touched on their adaptations with the hearing, but they also can see very well, especially in low light and complete darkness. So they have a ton of rods in their eyes. You hear about the rods and cones, and that helps them to have a great depth of field, and they also have binocular vision, meaning they see objects with both eyes at the same time. So the hearing combined with the nocturnal vision really helps them be incredible hunters. So if you think about some of the stuff we talked about, the hearing, the seeing, and then the silent flight, owls are really the perfect predator. If you were to kind of craft a perfect bird of prey, a lot of the things that owls have, you would put in there. Number six, owls have very useful facial discs. So if you think about an owl, you think about something with like a heart-shaped face or a very rounded face. I kind of think of the barn owl with that heart-shaped face, and there is a reason for this. So as that sound comes toward the owl, that facial disc actually helps funnel it into those asymmetrical ears. So that makes their hearing even better, and it gives a lot of these owls that iconic look. The barn owl, of course, the great horned owl has the more rounded face, the great gray. So they're just designed to be the perfect predators. Number seven, they expel pellets. When an owl is eating something like a rodent, a lot of the stuff in that rodent isn't the easiest to digest, thinking about the bones and the fur. So they will actually throw up pellets. And sometimes you can find them on the ground and kind of know, oh, this is a place where an owl roosts. So it can help you locate an owl, but you can also dissect these pellets. Sometimes they do it in high school classes where they will have a shipment of owl pellets brought in. You can kind of take them apart. You can put the bones together, see if you can form like a whole mouse or a whole rodent, see what the owl was eating. And it's actually just not owls that have pellets. There's a lot of species you might not think that actually expel pellets as well, but I think the owls are the most famous for doing this. And like I said, if you see those on the ground, you can note that area as a possible place to look for owls in the future. So it's a good sign that they're in the neighborhood. Number 8, owls carry a lot of symbolism. So kind of in modern culture, we think of owls associated with wisdom or mystery or maybe even misfortune, but in history they had a lot of symbolic meaning as well. In ancient Greece, they were associated with Athena, the goddess of wisdom, which also displays how they were thought of as associated with intelligence even in the past. And in some Native American cultures, they were seen as an omen of death. So that kind of goes with the Halloween theme of the owl. And they've also come to play in pop culture with, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? Some Pokemon are owls. And then they've come into fashion recently too. So a lot of things with owl designs on them have come to the forefront as well. So there's a lot of symbolic history and meaning with owls over time, and I'm sure that will continue on into the future. Number 9, owls are masters of disguise. So a lot of the feathers and patterning on these owl species helps them to blend into the trees where they might be roosting or even the cavities that they might sit in. So if you look at a barred owl sitting up against a tree, it really is patterned perfectly to blend into that environment. And when there's a lot of leaves on the trees, it's even easier for them to blend in. You could walk by an area, not know that owl's there at all. A lot of the time you'll see them as they're hunting, so when they're kind of out of their roosting area, or when they're making noises. So if you hear them vocalizing, it's a lot easier to track them down. But if they are completely silent and they're just sitting, they blend in very well with whatever structure they're living in. And the plumage kind of matches where they live too. So if you think about a snowy owl with the white, sometimes the black barring, that blends in very well in kind of the rocky tundra area. We talked about the barred owl next to the trees. Great horned is very dark brown. That also blends in with trees as well. Screech owls also. So a lot of these owl species have the perfect camouflage for their environment. Number 10, they have notable vocalizations. Owls are famous for their hoots. I think about the classic great horned owl just kind of doing the hoo 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 hoo. But you also have the barred owl, which makes the who cooks for you vocalization. Some people say it sounds like that. Some people don't. I think it does. And then the barn owl, which makes kind of the blood-curdling scream. So the vocalizations are super notable. In the winter, when owls are pairing up, you will often hear them duetting. Most notably, I think of the great horned owl. And a lot of the times, the female's vocalization is slightly higher pitched. So you might hear a lower hooting and then a higher hooting in response to that. The first one being low, the male, followed by the female. So if you're out in your neighborhood and you hear that, those owls are probably duetting and pairing up, or they have paired up for the winter. Sometimes owls will call to establish territory, say just, hey, I'm over here, this is my spot. Maybe they're communicating with other owls, or they're communicating with their mates or their offspring. So those are 10 awesome facts about owls that you need to know. Let me know which one of these you think is the most surprising, and if you have any other ones, let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Badgerland Birding.